Okay, everybody, welcome in. This is our first episode. I'm Kaden, and these are my two co-hosts, Daylan and Tag. And we're gonna be talking about a lot of things today. Obviously, huge series this weekend. Number seven Texas A&M hosting number eight Auburn, and then we're gonna go into a little bit about A&M's postseason and this just the general kind of SEC picture as a whole. Kind of quick introduction. A&M is 14-6 in conference play at this point. Auburn is 12-9. A&M is really hot. 5 series win streak. Just beat Florida last week. Lost the first game 2-9. Won the second game 8-4, and then won the third game 5-1. Auburn also just came off of a ranked series win at home. They took the first game against Oklahoma 6-4. Lost the second game 1-2, and then run ruled them in game three 14-4. And Auburn is on a 4 series win streak. If you had told me, I don't know, a couple months ago that we would be talking about A&M as a potential national seed lock if they win this series with two to go, I'd be super surprised. Uh, and I think everybody else would too in the country. I don't think anybody predicted this out of A&M. But I guess we could start just, what is you guys' impression of how good this A&M team is? What's their ceiling, and how good can they be?
Yeah, like you said, there was two parts in this season that really made you question like what was this year's team going to be. I would say the first, the Penn series, struggling hitting against Penn, and then right after game two of Georgia, you really didn't know one and four starting conference play. Really didn't know what to expect. And then ever since that point, it's just been red hot. That's playing got quality starts out of your starters. So big turnaround since the Georgia series.
And going off of both of you said, in the preseason in the coaches poll, we were projected to finish 13th in the SEC, and we're currently second. And then after the Georgia series, and then after we lost game one of Vandy, like people were assuming it's gonna be like last year. They're like, oh boy, here we go again. We can't win series. We're going to start out slow in SEC play and have to climb the way back. And then we just got extremely hot, climbed to top five in the RPI, climbed to top 10 in the rankings, and here we are sitting in second place in the SEC.
Yeah, I don't I wanted to go back to this. Like I don't want to compare this team to the 2024 team that went on a run to the national championship, but that team finished 19-11 in conference play and you're already at 14 SEC wins with three SEC series left, so that's 9 more games. So like the 2024 team is probably a better baseball team, a lot deeper in the bullpen, better starters, better I mean, yeah. But I mean, potentially this team could finish with a better record in conference play than the 2024 team, which is pretty crazy to say after you started 2-4 in conference play.
Yeah, absolutely. That team was like you said, it was deep. I mean, even when Montgomery went down, you saw the run that happened right to when they got to Charles Schwab. So, you're seeing signs of it. It's just, like you said, it's a little bit of a tear off, but like still very up there, and they have a chance to win 20 conference games if they win each series. So, something that we could have not seen. A lot of people didn't see this year. So, just based off that.
I think it's like similar to the 2022 team. It's just the lineup's more dangerous,
Yeah.
and we have more like pro prospects and people who could go first round, like Hakopian, Sorrell, and Grahovac. So it's like a mix. It's like in between the 2022 team and 2024 team. That's what my take.
And is there any doubt, like at all? I don't know how A&M would have to finish for this not to happen, but is there any doubt that Michael Early wins National Coach of the Year if A&M finishes strong?
Yeah, I would definitely say at least two out of the final three series wins, um, which is good because you get two of them at home. But there's an argument for a lot of these SEC coaches. But I mean, projected 13th to second right now, and you're in play for first in the conference. It's a hard to not choose.
Okay, is there anything else you guys want to talk about A&M before we kind of get into the series this weekend?
Yeah, I like to talk about how the pitching staff has improved. Like game
Yeah.
one, we still give up a decent amount of runs and give up a lot of damage. But the first 12 games, we've averaged given up about 7 runs per game. The last 8 games, we give up around 4 runs per game. It's a smaller sample size, and like we played less power offenses during the last 8 games because we didn't play like Georgia or Vandy, who are both top 5 in the nation in home runs. But it's just a sign like Sadeos looked better in game 3 pitching has given up has done really well.
Yeah, like he was saying, Sadeo's ERA is like 8.33 in conference play, but he's a better starter than that.
Yeah.
He's just coming off. I mean, a full year off of Tommy John surgery, but this is his first like actual starting experience in a year. And I mean, you can see the rough starts sometimes, but as of late, it's been pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. So, I don't obviously neither of these teams need the series this weekend. Auburn's fifth in the RPI and A&M's fourth, so both teams are in a really really good position to host. But in the national seed conversation, if you're A&M and you take 2 of 3 this weekend, or if you find a way to sweep, I mean, what you're at 16, 17 SEC wins, and 17 SEC wins, 17, 18 SEC wins is kind of that national seed. Like you're feeling really good about where you are. And then for Auburn, if you're able to go on the road, which you haven't really gone on the road like this all year, but if you are able to and you take 2 of 3, then you feel really good about being a national seed yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, Auburn's toughest road environments have been Alabama rivalry, and Florida. And we just saw Florida. It's not really that daunting environment anymore, you would say. And so this is the first real road environment that they'll have to experience. You saw the tweet that that during practice they're anticipating the ball five chant.
Ooh, I
I
saw
mean,
that on
it's
Twitter. I've never seen that before.
no,
I've
no
never seen a video of a team doing that before. That's
the
something
the
you see in
example.
football.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I hit on. You see that in football. You hear the indoor blaring crowd noise, but not for baseball. You don't see
Yeah,
that. So
that made me excited. That was fun. Did Auburn Auburn did they get swept at Alabama? Is that what happened?
Yes, they got swept, but it's also a rivalry series,
That's
so
true.
like you can't take away too much. And Bama is also tied first in quad one wins, so like they
mhm.
don't have
Good
like the
point.
best record, but they've beaten a bunch of good teams.
And then they also play. Yeah, they also played at Florida. That was 2 weeks ago, and they did the exact same thing that we did. Like they really struggled against Aiden King, and then they came back and won the next 2 games. Uh, okay. Do you want to get into just kind of a general stat comparison? Kind of talk about the matchup, or do you guys have anything else to add?
We can get into that. We can get into the comparison.
Okay. So I think the big story, just generally here, is in conference play. So in conference games only, A&M is third in hits, second in batting average, first in home runs, first in RBIs, first in slug percentage, first in bases on balls, and first in runs scored. So you have an electric offense against this Auburn pitching staff who is in the conference. They're first in ERA, first in walks allowed, and then first in they're I think number one nationally in WHIP. And then they're second in total hits allowed and batting average against. So kind of a little bit similar to what you saw at Florida this last weekend, where A&M's going to have to find a way to score against a staff that just doesn't walk people.
Yeah, like you said, it's like Florida. I did like our their ABs against Aiden King. Like it was a lot of hard hit balls just right at someone. And if you can put the ball in play and more specifically barrels against this staff and at your home park is going to be crucial for this weekend.
Yeah, and my points for this series is we AM struggles in game ones, Auburn struggles in game twos. Like, so I wonder if something's gonna give. Like, we do well in a game one actually and start out the series 1-0, or If Auburn does well in game 2 and steals the series against Sims, steals the game against Sims, which will likely potentially give them the series. And then can the bats of Grahovac and Wilson stay hot? Because in SEC play, Gavin's hitting 380 with 9 home runs, a OPS over 1200 with 33 RBIs, which he leads the SEC in. And then Wilson, as a true freshman, is hitting 370 with 6 home runs in SEC play. And every ball he seems to hit seems like it goes 450 feet.
110 off the bat,
Mhm.
and he throws
Yeah.
just as hard.
Yeah. So something that I wanted to bring up that probably is it's not going to get brought up a lot. There is weather Friday. Looks like all day Friday there will be rain. So who knows if that game's going to get played Friday? So if it doesn't get played Friday, how early can both teams get to the bullpen? Both, or if you get to see multiple arms, you might not see it in the same game or available for Sunday. So that's going to be crucial for whose starters get the most length and who's have to chase their starters out early. And can you get a quality start on Sunday? That's it for what this matchup feels like. A&M struggles on Friday, Auburn struggles on Saturday. It looks like Sunday starters are gonna. It's crucial. And then can your competitiveness not be can it not lead to losing of your emotions? It's a top 10 matchup. It's gonna get heated. Who's competitiveness is gonna be channeled better?
I think that like, oh, do you want to go, Daylan? Do you care?
Yeah.
Okay, go for
And
it.
going back to that weather, if it is a doubleheader, or at least had a lot of success here when we have series that include doubleheader, so that could play a factor into this series.
The one thing I was going to bring up is like just kind of about competitiveness and channeling your emotions is the Texas series and how good the at bats were all weekend. Like when the crowd was at its best and at its I think it was the sixth inning on Friday where they walked. I think they walked like 5 batters in that inning, walked in like 3 runs, and when the crowd was the loudest, even the fresh like Jorian Wilson, not just the experienced guys, but Jorian Wilson having really good at bats in that inning. So I think at this point I trust this team to play well in big moments. And then what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so the Vanderbilt was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we had a doubleheader, right? Is that what happened?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Correct.
even if A&M, if Shane struggles, which is what happened in the first game against Vanderbilt, like A&M lost that first game, gave up 14 runs, and then had to play a doubleheader after using multiple arms and the bullpen. And then I think we gave up in that second game. We gave up like four. I think we won 8-4 or something like that. So we gave up 4 runs, and then it was a shutout, right? Sims
Yeah,
threw a complete
Sims
game.
shutout run rule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
12-0 run rule.
So I mean, I think we all have mixed feelings about the pitching staff, but it does feel like they find ways to get it done when they have to.
Mhm. For as much crow as they've been getting, the numbers don't lie. Like in these last few series, the bullpen's been lights out for a majority of the games. So for as much as they get, they're not good enough. They're not good enough. They have been very very effective as of late.
If you guys kind of want to talk about offense first, and then we can go into pitching, and then we can kind of go into all the starters on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Um, yeah, so Auburn in SEC play, like they've got they got 2 guys batting over 300 in conference play. They've got 2 guys with 5 home runs. So their player with the most home runs in conference play has 5 home runs. So they have 2 guys with 5 home runs, and then A&M on the other hand, Gavin, Kaden, Nico, Jorian, and Bear all have more than 5 runs in conference play. Like Gavin's got 9, Kaden and Nico both have 7, and then Jorian and Bear both have 6. So I mean, the A&M has a pretty significant advantage offensively. I think that's pretty clear.
Mhm. Yeah, I think everyone knew going into this series where the advantages were. A&M's loaded offensively, and Auburn's loaded on the mound. At least that's what the numbers would say. So yeah, home run numbers have been favored in the Aggies' way, but it's a top 10 matchup. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and Auburn it isn't a lineup that can beat you with power, but they have a bunch of people who are really good at getting on base and getting base hits to drive in those runs. Like Eric Guevara's hitting 400 in SEC play, which is very good. And
What's that other kid's name? Uh, so it's batting average. Yeah, so it's Eric Guevara and then Ethan Bingaman, and those are their two kids that. And I think it's all. I think all their stuff, all their powers at the top of the lineup. It's kind of feels like Florida, like lineup,
Mhm.
just the line, just comparing the two lineups side by side. Like top of the lineup can hit the ball, and then after that, it's like everybody's pretty good at getting on base, but I mean, it's nothing like you've already played Georgia and Vanderbilt. Like it's nothing. It's nothing like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing you haven't seen. You've seen all sorts of lineups in this conference. You've seen Oklahoma that doesn't hit many home runs, but they create chaos on the field. And then you face Georgia and you face Vandy, who will try to outslug you all weekend. So just the variety. You've seen it all. The staff should be ready for this lineup, um, and they should have a good game plan.
Um, I think before we get into the kind of looking at each individual starter, like I wanted to ask you guys how many innings do you need out of Shane Sadeo, or I guess like how many innings would you get out of him to where you feel really good about his start? What does a quality start from him look like?
I think the baseline's five. I just think it is with the way lines and the back half of the pen has been thrown with Darden and Freshcorn, and you've seen Freshcorn have to get 3 inning saves sometimes. I think five is your good baseline, and then anything over that is plus.
I agree, 5 at the minimum with a minimum of 4 or fewer runs.
Yeah, okay. And then what about Weston Moss? I mean, I don't know who you kind of. I think Aiden Sims is clearly the best. Kind of your number one starter. Um, what do you kind of make of Weston Moss at this point? Because it wasn't looking great, kind of coming into I think the LSU series, but we didn't get to see him pitch against Texas. But the LSU series looked a lot better. Florida was pretty good too, so I think he's also kind of trending in the right direction. And then Aiden Sims is just Aiden Sims.
I would like to backtrack it. Vandy was good. His start against Vandy was quality. You take that every time. So he's been trending upward, which a lot of the staff has too, which is why you've seen 5 in a row, 5 series wins in a row. So I think Weston, like, it's TBA. So like you could have to use him Friday, but if you get 4 or 5, like you got this past weekend at Florida, if you get 4 great innings out of him, you take that.
And then another thing that I think Tag and I noticed when we were watching the first Florida game, you don't want to say that the coaches are throwing the game, but when that Friday night game against Florida, like after things kind of got out of hand and they started to pull away, it was still like a 2 or 3 run game, kind of late. And you saw them kind of you run out what we were like Luke Billings and Cooper Powell, I think pitched. I think in that
Yeah, it
seventh
was
inning.
it was it was after Sadeo. You went to Cunningham, who looked good, and then after Cunningham, you needed Darden to get one out, and then you went to Vargas, and then that's when things started to kind of unravel in game one.
Yeah. So I think like the point I'm making is it feels like the coaches and the staff just kind of have an understanding that we're going to be pretty like damn hard to beat when Aiden Sims is starting. And so the goal is like, can you just find a way to grab Friday or Sunday? And if Friday isn't looking too good, like you don't want to run Gavin Lyons out there when you're down, 5 innings, like in the sixth or whatever. So it feels like the coaching staff, they're not trying to throw the game, but with a limited bullpen, like, and that clearly being the weakness of the team, like they kind of have an understanding that, all right, if we can just grab Saturday, which we probably will, and kind of save up for Sunday, we can win the series and feel pretty good about it, even if we win Friday. Because I, for one, like after we lost that Friday night game, I didn't have any worry. I wasn't worried at all.
Mm. No, like you said, the only game that A&M has lost when Sims was pitching was in a tornado in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
That's,
good point.
and he didn't get the loss in that. He has not lost the game this year, and you're very confident that Saturday or game two, whenever that game's being played, that when Sims gets the ball, you're going to be good. You're going to be good, and it's been that way all year.
And it's not just because he's not facing good lineups against Georgia and Vandy, which I said previously, both are top five in the National League home runs. He gave up a total of like 2 runs the whole combined.
And how many hits did Aiden give up in that game against Vandy? I have it written down. Yeah, so against Vandy, which I think is pretty clearly his best outing. He went 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, and struck out 8. No, gave up no runs, didn't walk anybody.
And that was the complete game run rule.
Yes. Okay, so I guess we can kind of just move specifically into Friday night. For A&M, obviously it's going to be Shane Sadeo, and then for Auburn, it's going to be Andreas Alvarez, who you could argue. I mean, he's really good. Like I don't know how else to say it. Shane Sadeo first has not been credited with a win in SEC play yet. 0-3 in conference. He's got the alarming numbers, the 8.33 ERA in conference play. Now, I think, like Tag mentioned earlier, that's a little bit deceiving. Like, I think he's a lot better than that. And for me, like with Shane, what I love about Shane is like the numbers aren't great and he gets hit around, but he's such a great competitor. Like, he's very collected and he does a great job of just, if he gives up a hit, if he gives up a run, just go right back and throw another strike.
Yeah, he's the veteran of the group. You know, he's the senior. It's his job. It's Friday. Yeah, like you said, numbers have not been great, but it's the lead arm when he's on. You know,
Yeah.
he's one of the top 10 arms when he's on in this conference. And the strikeout stuff's there. It's just, some two strike pitches that sometimes just either are left over the plate or they fight it off, or it's been 2 strikes, 2 outs mainly most of the time where most of the damage has been done.
Yeah, and also like the 8.33 conference area is kind of like skewed because if you look at pulled earlier in the Missouri game, his like conference area could be like 5 or 6,
Yeah.
which is like average, but it just
Mm-hmm.
looks worse just because of that one moment.
Yeah, he gave up 6 consecutive hits before he was finally pulled. Uh, yeah, and then so the whip is for Shane 1.48, 41 strikeouts in conference play. He's only walked 11 batters, but he does obviously gets hit around. The batting average against Shane in conference play is 371. Um, I think we can. I don't know if you guys would agree. I'd say his best outing is. I would say it was at LSU. I think is his best outing. He went 4.2 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 earned runs. Didn't walk anybody. And that's kind of the thing for me is like if you're gonna give up hits and I think we're last in the conference in home runs given up, right? Is that true? I think we said that yesterday.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
we've given up the most.
Yeah. So if you're gonna give up a lot of home runs, but you're not walking people, like then the solo shots aren't gonna kill you.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say in conference play that the LSU outing is the best outing of the year so far. Um, but like you said, he did all he needed to do for A&M to win that game.
Yeah, and I think like when we're talking about the goal for Sadeo, I think it needs to like be a similar stat line to the LSU outing to it be a successful
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, you can the bit like if you can get that first out and then you give up a couple hits, like you're gonna be okay. The problem is like you give up a leadoff hit and then and then they've got runners at the corners or something with no outs. Like that's where it can kind of get scary. But if you can get that first out and then just the defense is I think we're second in the conference in fielding percentage. So like if they're gonna hit the ball, like you got to trust your defense to make a play, and that's kind of been the game plan. Like that's been the identity of the pitching staff. I think at the beginning of the year it was like, what is this pitching staff like? What is the identity? And I think the identity now is like you're not gonna walk people. You're gonna throw strikes. We're gonna get hit, but we're gonna trust our defense to make plays. So it's gonna be okay if you get hit. Um, Going into Andreas Alvarez for Auburn. He's 3-1 in conference play. Pitched 21 innings, 4.29 ERA, 1.33 WHIP. He's got 24 strikeouts. Only walked 8 guys, and the batting average against is 247. And kind of like Tag said, like Shane's strikeout numbers, he's got 41 strikeouts, and Andreas is 24. So like Shane, that's what it's been. It's been strikeout or he gets blistered.
Yeah, and you can see his Andreas' best outing is against Georgia Tech, one of the most elite lineups in the country. So this dude, he's a dude. He's your Friday night guy in this conference for a reason. So it's going to be a battle Friday night.
Yeah, and he had a solid outing against Oklahoma, and that was a lineup our pitching struggled with the whole series. So it's also a sign that can has the stuff to be a really good pitcher, and a 4.29 ERA can be deceiving.
But again, like, and we'll talk about this because Auburn's Sunday guy is like really legit. Um, but like you've seen Ruger Riojas, you've seen Aiden King, you've seen Liam Peterson. I can't name. I mean, we've seen a lot of really talented pitchers. So like at this point of the season, like you just can't be scared of anybody. Like with this lineup, like whoever's on the mound, like I don't care in a way. Like I trust the offense every game.
Yeah, or like I would say, like LSU's had a bad year, but their arms are legit. Everyone they bring out is going to be throwing that has some stuff, and you saw how that series went. So for this lineup, they're not scared of anyone at this point of the year.
So I guess before we move into Saturday, like if the game happens on Friday night, it'd be 7 p.m. first pitch. If it happens, like I don't think there's any chance that game starts at 7. Maybe it gets pushed back and it's able to start if something clears up. But what are you guys' I guess just kind of general just keys for winning Friday night?
I think it's got to start with Shane. You know, it's like we said. If you get quality innings, I don't even mean start. If you get quality innings out of Shane, you're setting yourself up to be successful, not just Friday, but in the whole series. If you have to use two arms Friday out of the pen or three of your dudes, and it's smooth sailing, you're going to set yourself up for to be very successful, knowing that you've got Aiden Sims going the next day or the second game of the doubleheader of whatever if of Saturday if it does get moved.
Yeah, and you need Sadeo and like at least one other pin guy to give you length. Because like if you can save a fresh corn or someone like that from game two and game three, you set the bullpen better since it doesn't have the
Mm-hmm.
greatest depth due to injuries and stuff. So just get good length of your Friday starter and pin guy, and you're set up for success.
And then offensively for Friday, if you keep the timely hitting going, you're going to be successful. You've had timely hitting in almost every series. Like going back even to Friday that you lost, you're down 1-0 and you have two outs and Grohovac gets a home run with a
Mm-hmm.
runner on, and it's just been timely at bat after at bat. Like the Texas series Friday night, you have quality at bats, not chasing against some of their best arms. I know you didn't see Cozart or Volantis, but you still saw Ruger, you saw Luke Harrison, and those are quality arms, if not the top end of this conference. And you scored 11 runs, and you scored what was it 9 on Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you keep that up, you're going to be very good.
And the other thing too, like about timely hitting, it is literally everybody. Like it's not just like you've even seen Jorian in the last I don't know how long, I mean the last few weeks. Like I think it started at LSU. You really saw him like he just hit a little cue ball shot like past second base to score like 2 runs. Like it's not all 110, 430. Like he knows how to the offense has an elite understanding of how to score runs. And I think we've talked about this before, but like how often when we've got a runner on third with less than 2 outs, do we drive that guy home? And that was something that was almost unheard of last year. Like you just could not find any timely hitting in any game. And this year, it's like if we've got a guy on second or third with less than 2 outs, like they're gonna score. It's that's just what it's felt like to me.
Yeah, and you have the I would say the deepest lineup. Like once you even if you get to 7, 8, 9, you're not worried. You're not worried at all. You know the job's getting done.
And you can get to sorry, Dalen. You can get to like Bear and Kellner at the bottom of the lineup, and they Bear's been really coming on and like hitting the ball hard recently, but Bear and Kellner are also like really good at getting on base. What is here, Dalen? Go. I'm gonna look up Kellner's on base percentage because he's a 9 hole and it's like really good.
And I feel like last year we were just like swinging for the fences and like we wanted a home run or bust. And this year we're actually like trying to get base hits and doing situational hitting to get advance a runner, drive him in, and then just the power from guys like Sorrell, Wilson, Nico, and Grahovic is just a plus to make this lineup even more dangerous. Even Hakopian.
Yeah. Ooh, that's another thing to talk about. Like, does Chris sat on Tuesday, but does he play on Friday? Does he play on Sunday? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything.
The fact that he didn't come out immediately trends for me to say he'll be
I
playing. Like
agree.
he's a competitor. He got hit in the face and was playing the next day. Like he it's going to take a lot for him to be out of the lineup. However, if he does not play, I think you still feel good about your lineup. It makes you. It depends on who's playing. Is it Chestnut? Is it Farr? Is it Royo? But you've got something different in each one of those players that makes you feel confident, regardless of who's in that lineup.
The one thing I was gonna look up that I wanted to add was Bear Harrison and Boston Kellner are your 8 and 9 hole, and Boston Kellner has a .429 on base percentage, and Bear is still at 500. Like, so the thing that can happen is if you get to 8 and 9 with 2 outs, those two can easily find a way to like just sit there and battle and foul off pitches and then walk. And then you have two on base for Gavin and then Kaden. And then it just starts all over again. So it's like for opponents, like there's literally no point in this lineup where you get to take a breath. Um,
Oh, oh.
oh, no, go for it. Sorry.
Plus, after Caden Surratt had a rough weekend at Florida, some would say. And
Yeah.
Tuesday it looked like he was back.
Yeah.
He looks like he's back in his groove. Rough time to face A&M if you're Auburn.
And he had what, one hit? Yeah, he had one hit at Florida. So for opponents, what you're looking at is the best player on A&M's team had one hit all weekend, and they still won on the road against a ranked SEC opponent. They still won the series.
One of the best staffs in this conference.
Yeah,
So it just shows you how loaded they are from 1 to 9, and even the guys on the bench like it's going to be hard to get outs once you 1 through 9. It's hard to get outs against this A&M lineup.
okay, moving to Saturday, everybody's favorite day where Aiden Sims is on the mound and we get to watch Aiden Sims pitch. 5-0 in conference play, which I can't even remember. I'm trying to think back to 2024. Like, I don't know. I don't have our. I guess I'll look it up in a bit, but I just curious of like what Aiden Sims, he's 5-0, but I'm wondering like what our starters from 2024, like what their record was in SEC play, because Aiden Sims is five. Yeah, Aiden Sims is 5-0, and then like Gavin Lyons out of the pen is also like, I think he's also 5-0.
It definitely felt like Prager was up there with these numbers.
Probably.
Um,
Um, go for it.
but I feel like we talked about this the other day during the Florida. Like Sear hits the home run in the second, and it was like, oh, we're still going to get a quality start out of him. Like we're
Yeah,
not worried. So
yeah.
even if he does see trouble, like the Georgia game, I believe they scored three. I don't remember when those three were,
Hmm.
but like you knew you were going to win the game. It's almost felt like that the whole year when when Sims is throwing,
Yeah.
you're gonna get a quality start, and your offense really only needs 3+ to win that day, and numbers wise, you're gonna get three every day from this
Yeah.
lineup. So
Moving into back to Aiden Sims. So he's pitched 37.1 innings in conference play. ERA is 4.58, which again, I think Daylan talked about like Shane, but Aiden's is also probably elevated a little bit. It doesn't really represent how good he is because of that Oklahoma game where they literally played in like 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And we dropped like two balls in the outfield, had a ton of throwing errors. Um, a ton of stuff happened in that game, and that just wasn't fair to Aiden. But the whip is really good, 1.18 in conference play, 39 strikeouts. He's walked 12 batters, and the batting average against is 227. And then uh, we talked about it. Best outing is pretty clearly the Vanderbilt game where he went seven, three hits, no earned runs. There's a shutout, and then struck out eight. And then last week against Florida, we were just talking about it. Went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and 7 strikeouts. And then Auburn Saturday guy. Guess what? He's also really good. 1-3 in conference play, which I mean that doesn't don't look at that. 39 innings pitched, 2.50 ERA, 1.01 WHIP. So you're looking at Aiden King is like point. I think his after our game was like 0.86 or something in conference play, which is
Something
stupid.
nuts around that.
Something stupid. But now you're looking at something close to that. One, he's got the best. He has the best. Nope, sorry. This Sunday Auburn guy has an even better whip. Uh, but still 1.10, 47 strikeouts, walked 8 batters. Batting average against him is 215. His I was looking. I think his best outing was against Texas. Went 7 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts, and then last week against Oklahoma, they lost this game. He still went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, and 5 strikeouts. So not terrible. But yeah, also Auburn Saturday guy is also really good.
Yeah, he's another one of these arms on this quote unquote loaded staff. He's the strikeout guy out of the. It seems like out of the group, he's got the most strikeout stuff on this staff, and 8 strikeouts or 9 Ks against that Texas lineup is very impressive.
And Auburn is a staff who doesn't give up a lot of home runs in conference games. They give in the second fewest. So another note, that's why it's a positive side that AM is not so home run or bust in their at bats this year.
Good point. And then moving into Sunday or potential. Well, actually, no, we would play on Sunday. It would be the Friday game that gets moved. But you're gonna have Weston. It's for A&M. It's TBA, which I guess we could talk about that, like kind of how smart that is for A&M to be leaving Sunday as TBA. It's gonna be Weston Moss if everything goes well, but if things don't go well Friday, if things don't go well on Saturday, like you have the option to bring in Weston Moss out of the pen. So I think that's really smart, not kind of not having that him kind of etched into the Sunday start. But if it wasn't Weston Moss, if something happened, like who do you guys think A&M would start on Sunday if it's not Weston and you have to use him in the pen on Friday or Saturday?
I think you got two options. Realistically, I think you got two options. You got Gavin Lyons and you've got Darden, who has starting experience at Clemson. So, there's three. You got Juan Vargas as well, who just started this Tuesday.
Yeah,
However, I feel like you'd be very confident if you had Darden or Lions go out and give you. You think they could give you four. Um, but once again, it all depends on how Friday and Saturday go. So yeah,
Yeah, and if the games get out of hand, you don't use Moss because you need him for Sunday. But if it's a
true.
winnable game in a game you actually feel confident, then that's the only time you should use Moss out of the pen.
I
yeah,
would
I feel like
go for it. Sorry.
I said, yeah, I feel like if you're in a 1 or 2 run game, you're up 1 or 2, and Shane can't get out of the fourth inning, fifth inning. I feel like you could very well see Moss in that situation.
And then we can. So let's see. I think Weston's best outing was at this last one at LSU. I don't know if you guys have an objection to that, if you can think of one. He was also really good against Vanderbilt, like you said, but I think LSU he went 4.1, gave up 3 hits, no earned runs, and struck out 5. And then last week against Florida, he also had a really good start. Went 4 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run, and struck out 2. And that's kind of been the theme for if your name isn't Shane Sadeo, like a lot of what it's been is you're gonna get hit. Like Weston, a lot of the balls a lot of pitches he throws get hit. Same with a lot of the time with Aiden too, but it's right at people. Like they get a lot of ground balls. We turn. I was looking at a stat. I don't know what it is. We turn a lot of double plays when Weston is pitching, I don't have the exact number, but they kind of just find a way to just create outs without striking out anybody. So that's kind of what it's been for Weston Moss. And then Auburn Sunday guy Alex Petrovic, 4-1 in conference play, pitched 41.1 innings, 3.05 ERA, and you have, I don't know how many sub one whips they have on their staff, but he's at .99, so that's like super elite. 38
Mhm.
strikeouts, walked 12 batters, and the batting average against is 193. So really, really solid. Probably their best starter.
Numbers wise, he's their best starter.
Yeah.
Time will see that we still got 3 series left to go, but you're very well set up like how Texas was before they moved Volantis to Friday. But this is tracking to be somewhat similar to that.
Yeah, and speaking of the Texas series, like coming into it, Texas was like they were the top dog of the pitching stuff in the SEC,
Hmm.
and then the environment of Olsen Field and this lineup got to them, which and skewed their numbers. So like, could Auburn like handle that and prove that they're the top, or would it be another top lineup that comes pitching staff that comes to Olsen Field and just gets blown up and has an uncharacteristic series?
Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of already in their head a little bit if they're practicing with ball five crowd noise, which is funny. I've never seen that. We already talked about that, but that's still funny to me. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't think there's anybody ever that wants to come play here with the offense that we have, and then you combine that with the crowd and at night, like not fun. Um, so going back to Alex Petrovic, Auburn Sunday guy, his best outing I think of the years was against Kentucky, which Kentucky isn't a great team, but I mean if you have a good outing in the SEC, it's still really impressive. Went 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, and struck out 8. And then last week against Oklahoma, this was their run rule victory. They won 14-4. Went 6, gave up 4 hits, gave up 2 runs, and struck out 3. So kind of talking about both bullpens a little bit. We'll start with A&M. We talked a little bit about kind of scenarios based on how Shane pitches and what you might have to do with Weston Moss if that time ever comes. But who do you guys, I guess, who do you guys feel good about when they're pitching? Like, who do you feel the most comfortable, the most confident in when they're out there, like out of the pen?
There's a simple answer, and it's fresh corn,
Yeah.
but because that's the closer. He's up for closer, the stopper of the years they call it. But I'm gonna go with Lions as of late. As I'm gonna clarify that as of since Texas, I would say you feel really
Yeah.
confident when he comes out there. But I mean, it's just been two seams right at you. He's going right at hitters. He's not scared of hitters, and he's going right at the best hitters in this conference. So I would say fresh corn, but that's the easy answer. So I'll go Lions.
Yeah, honestly, the two answers are what you just said. Freshcore and Lions been the best pin guys by far. But this might be a hot take, but like when he's on, Grant Cunningham can be
Yeah.
a reliable arm for this team.
I think Ethan Darden's also really important. Like I mean the easy answer for everybody. The bullpen doesn't have much depth. Like it's you feel good when Gavin and Clayton are pitching. But like I think going down the stretch, and I think you've seen it a little bit as of late, like Ethan Darden is getting a lot better, and that's going to be really important. Like if you're in your, we can get into postseason later, but if you're in your regional and you have to play an extra game, like you lose that winners bracket, like you're gonna have to, like somebody else is gonna have to step up. It could be, maybe it could be Luke Billings, um, but I think Ethan Darden will be really important going forward, like having just one extra piece.
Yeah, in the postseason, that first game's crucial. If you don't have to use as many high leverage arms as they call it, you're setting yourself up to be successful. No matter if you do win that winners bracket game or lose it, you're still setting yourself up to be successful with the arms you still have.
Yeah, because if you don't use a lot of arms in the game one of the regional, you just treat the remaining games like just a weekend series. But honestly, it's must win and you need like to sweep, but you just treat it the same way as a weekend series.
So kind of moving over to Auburn. Um, their their bullpen's also really good. Um, Let me see. Oh shoot, my Google. I just freaking clicked off the Google Doc. Oops.
The closer's good. At least is
And yeah,
GS
you
game
could just
saved?
here just you just go tag. You can just talk about him. Yes, GS is game saved. Yeah, just you can go.
Okay, so their closer's legit. I mean, it's almost like your typical closer in this conference. He's got seven save opportunities, seven saves. So when he comes in, he's either being really effective in a tie game or he's getting it done. Like it's just, and it's also like the typical loaded bullpen. They're just all legit. They're all legit. Everyone they bring out is a legit SEC arm, and it's proven. That's why their record's so good.
It doesn't like it. You don't want to discredit Auburn. I think we all think Auburn is probably the best pitching staff in the conference right now. You don't
Mhm.
want to discredit Auburn, but it's like we've heard that before with Texas. You heard it with Florida. LSU's bullpen's really good. It's like it's just something that you see. Like everybody has dudes. Like it's just something that you see every single week. And for this offense, like the entire weekend, it's just like every other weekend. Like it just doesn't matter who's pitching. Like it just doesn't matter. The approach is the exact same. Like it's patient. It's don't swing at balls, and then when they throw strikes, do damage. And it just doesn't matter who's pitching.
I like how you bring up Texas because this weekend they look dominant on the mound against Vandy, which is one of the elite offenses. Everyone would agree in this conference, and they mowed them down all weekend on the road. So we've heard this going into series against A&M where they're loaded. They're loaded. That's this conference. That's what this conference does, and A&M seems to time in time out to thrive in these situations.
Do you guys have anything else you want to add, kind of about Auburn or A&M before we get into just straight up predictions for the weekend?
Yeah, I'm just gonna add the common opponents thing. We've all both teams have played Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, and then who's the fourth? Oh yeah, Missouri.
Mhm.
And we're 8-3 against those teams. Auburn's 7-4. And the difference is Auburn beat Oklahoma and we lost to Oklahoma, but we swept Texas in the 2-game series and Auburn lost to Texas. So like that's been the main difference between those two.
Tag, do you want to do your prediction first? Because I'm looking something up.
Okay. For my prediction, I've got A&M winning not a sweep, but 2 games out of 3. I've got them losing Friday night, winning Saturday, and winning Sunday. Momentum's a real thing. You know, you just A&M's been hot ever since I would say Game 3 of Georgia, and they haven't turned their back. Like it's been nothing but success at the plate. You've got in quality start after quality start. It seems like on Saturday and Sunday for that matter, and I think it continues.
Do you want to go, Dalen? Do you want me to go first?
I can go.
Go
I
for
had
it.
the same thing as Tag, the same prediction. And I have that I think Auburn takes game one just due to our game one struggles. We take game two due to having Sims and Auburn's game two struggles. And I just think that our offense and our offensive ability will be enough to give us a game three win, no matter who's pitching or what we have to do for the Sunday game.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with both of you. I'm not as confident to pick exactly which games we're gonna win or lose, but I think we're gonna take 2 of 3, and I know we're gonna win on Saturday. I mean, it's just Auburn struggles on Saturday, and I would take us with Aiden Sims starting. Like, I'll take us every Saturday. So, I like the Texas series. You know, this is a top 10 matchup, the first top 10 matchup at Olson since 2024. Like, I think what was it, the Arkansas series, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And we
that's
had two walk-offs that series.
Yeah. So first top 10 matchup at Olsen, but that's just not going to matter for this team because they already played in the Texas environment. They weren't rattled by the crowd. Like they played just as good baseball as they have all year in that series. So I trust the team to handle that and handle their emotions really well and just play well. So yeah, we're gonna take 2 of 3 this weekend, and that'll put us at 16 conference wins with 2 SEC series left. And you didn't play that third game against Texas, so that matters too for how many wins you could have right now. Um, 16 SEC wins with 2 series left is pretty crazy.
And both teams are technically still playing for first. If we're going on that technicality, I know Auburn has a lot of work to do. Plus, you would need help from Georgia or other teams to beat Georgia. But both teams are still looking to win the regular season in this conference and setting yourself up for the double bye in Hoover.
We are looking at the SEC conference standings. Georgia's obviously the front runner. Um, A&M right behind them, and then Texas right there. So, who do you guys see as kind of the teams that could win the SEC regular season title?
So there's the three-legged race. I think Georgia, A&M, and then the winner of this weekend. I believe Texas and Mississippi State play this weekend,
Yeah,
and it's a half a game difference there. Whoever wins that series is going to be in a great spot because everything's still in front of them. But Georgia having the easiest remaining schedule likely left with Missouri and LSU, the two bottom teams in this conference, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I agree. And both those Georgia games, I think, are at home in Athens. So, like, that's a very capable 6-0 stretch where they can get to 21 SEC wins with one series remaining, which would be a tough task, especially since we play two top 10 teams at home. And then going to Oxford isn't an easy place as well. Like, I know Ole Miss only has 11 SEC wins, but when they're on, they're arguably like a top 5 team in this conference, and they're a dangerous team. So it's nothing to take lightly.
Yeah, Georgia gets LSU and Missouri at Foley Field, and then they go to Auburn to end the year. So that's very easily 7-2, 8-1 range you're looking at if they do handle business. So that's if they do go 8-1, they win the regular season. Like it's that unless A&M wins every game, but we all know how this conference is. That's very unlikely.
the conference schedule like it's so crazy. So you have Texas and Mississippi State this weekend, who are both at 13 SEC wins. So you take 2, then you're at 15. Auburn, obviously, we play Auburn. If they take 2 of 3 from us, that puts them at 14 SEC wins. And then there's 4 teams that are kind of packed in at 11 SEC wins, which is Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Florida. And I'm pretty sure Florida plays at Oklahoma this weekend, and then uh, Arkansas gets Ole Miss at home. So those 4 11-10 records, those are going to get shaken up. But I mean, I think it's Georgia, A&M, and then whoever wins this weekend in Austin, probably. And then, like you said earlier, seeing LSU at the below South Carolina in the conference standings, where South Carolina doesn't have a head coach, and LSU's head coach is Jay Johnson, is pretty weird to say the least.
Was LSU predicted to win the league? Was that right?
I think
I
so.
I think if they weren't, they were number 2. So,
So
Yeah,
top two and
it was
they're
either
bottom.
Texas. It was either Texas or LSU.
and then like even though Georgia has like the one of the easiest, it's not given because LSU has like enough talent and a good enough staff because their coach has won 2 natties in the last 3 years to like
Yeah,
shake it up and they like steal Georgia, which would shake up the standings.
true. They've been
Yeah,
playing.
like,
Who's gonna go?
you got it. You got it. You
Okay.
got it.
LSU and I've watched their last couple of midweeks, and then this series. Even though they got swept at Mississippi State, they are totally like Jay Johnson kind of talked about how they missed on their transfers. They're playing like a ton of their young guys now, and they found something at Mississippi State. Like they scored a lot of runs in Starkville. But that's kind of what it's been for them. Like when one thing goes right, the other thing goes wrong, and then if 2 things are kind of going the same way, they're both going badly. But I mean, yeah, they've totally shaken up their lineup. They're playing all their young guys. So, maybe LSU does something crazy and that shakes it up. But Yeah, Georgia A&M or Mississippi State to win the regular season title. And then in Hoover, like who can ever even guess? That's not even possible to
Nope,
guess. Literally
not going to
anybody.
do it.
Anybody except for I mean, you even look at Vanderbilt, like Tim Corbin is so good in the SEC tournament. Then you have Florida, who could just shut people down with their pitching. Arkansas, I think Arkansas is a really good pitching staff. Ole Miss is really good. Oklahoma can hit. Auburn can pitch. Mississippi State's good at everything. Texas, like it's just everybody. Um,
It's this conference. It's just plain and dry. It's what this conference will do to you. And I believe y'all have to fact check me, but the last four SEC tournaments have been won by Tennessee or Vanderbilt.
that is true. So I think in
So and they're at the bottom of this conference this year. So
yeah.
it's up for grabs. Every team does something different that they're excellent at, and it's really crucial for who between Mississippi State and that whoever gets that fourth spot as of now for that double bye.
Mhm.
It just saves the staff, and you're set up for a great run if you get there. But who knows?
Did we play? It was in I think Daylan. It was in 2022. We played Vandy in the SEC championship, right? Was that game?
That was 2023.
2023. Okay, yeah. So that was Vandy's. Okay, so yeah, that
It's like
last four have been Vandy or Tennessee. Tennessee, yeah,
Yeah, because like we were kind of on a bubble that year, and we made a SEC tournament run to get
to get
us
in.
in the
Yeah.
regional, the Stanford regional.
Okay, I guess we could talk a little bit about just postseason baseball, the tournament itself. D1 baseball's Week 12 projected field of 64 has A&M as the number 5 national seed, and they'd be hosting the 2 seed Wake Forest, 3 seed UTSA, and 4 seed Tarleton, who we just beat yesterday. So the game against UTSA got rained out, so that would be interesting. But um, I mean, you feel pretty good about A&M at home. But I think the question I kind of wanted to ask you guys was like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel more worried about us losing in the regional than losing in the super regional, just because the possibility of having to play 4 games versus just 3.
I agree with that, and I feel like if the season ended today and that was the draw, that's a rough regional draw.
Yeah,
Wake Forest is always good. They're always talented. UTSA as of late is very talented. And you just saw what Tarleton can do to this staff if you're rolling out that same approach of not trying to use your leverage arms. And they can hit. And they had a
yeah,
they had a few arms that looked good. So if the season ended today, you'd be like, that's a tough regional. But once again, Bluebell Park, Wilson Field, this crowd, this environment, in a regional, it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat in college baseball.
yeah.
Yeah, and then our super regional matchup in that projection is Nebraska, like that regional, and I feel confident against Nebraska. Like they don't have like the experience, and they don't go to like an environment like Olsen Field in the Big Ten.
Hmm.
And then the 2 seed who might likely win the regional if it's not Nebraska is Arkansas. And they're still a SEC team, and they have like a high ceiling, but I'll feel confident about playing Arkansas at home. And I agree with y'all said about like the regional, like the tough draw, and feeling more confident about the Super than the regional.
Go for it, Bubba. I'm not watching.
All right, thank you for watching, y'all, and we'll see you at Olson this weekend.